Hey, besties. Let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Mia just be lying. And honey, they all tell her, and she don't even rebut it. Because that's what liars do. They accept and they know they lying, and they gonna keep on lying. And you know they lying, and they gonna still keep lying. Because what? Mia be lying. Welcome, besties. You are now behind the shade. Thanks for joining me. I recap your favorite reality shows weekly. Now let's Kiki and Haha and get into part 2 of the Real Housewives of Potomac season 9, episode 19. This is part 2 of the reunion. We have one more week and Potomac is done. Now wait a minute. Did they say that Karen has had 4 DUIs? 4? Oh, Miss Ma'am, no. No. I mean, yeah, it's time that Karen needs some punishment. They said somebody was side-eyeing her when she decided to pick this ritzy, luxurious place for healing, where she's trying to say, rehab. She don't even call it a rehab. It's a wellness center or whatever. They side-eyeing that. They really gonna try to get this girl 6 months of jail time. Yeah, and she probably should go ahead and get it, because why do you have 4 DUIs? You didn't learn from the first, the second, or the third one? Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. It's risky, it's irresponsible, it's all the things. And personally, I don't think you deserve a license. I don't think you deserve a license. You should not drive. You just should not drive. No, I don't know if ever, maybe, but definitely a lot of time. And a lot of time to where it's so inconvenient. Now you have to schedule a plan on how to get to the store and how you go to your doctor's appointments and how you go hang out. Yes, you need to go through some inconveniences to finally get it, Karen. Whew, besties, drop down in the comments. Didn't even mean to go that way, but drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on Karen Huger, 4 DUIs. What do you guys think? What should her punishment be? And please don't forget to like the video. Please make sure you're subscribed to my channel and make sure your notification bell is on. Ding dong, so that you are notified each and every time I post my content. Now, the reunion part 2 starts off. Mia, went to her dressing room last week. She was ready to leave after the hallway drama, as Giselle calls it. So Andy went to go talk to her. He got to coach her. Come on, girl. You said what you said. Give yourself grace. You owned it. You did it. Let's move on. Let's make this reunion great. Come on. I need you. You are my number one player. You got the... Is she in the first? No, she's not in the first chair. But, he's saying all the things to get back. And she's like, thank you, Andy. She just needed a little validation, child. And she walked on back to her seat. And so she told him, she blames her divorce on why she's such a terrible friend. Then she returns to the stage. Meanwhile, Ashley and Giselle are on stage. They're having a break. So they're on stage. They don't have to use the bathroom. They don't have to whatever. And the makeup artists, they come to you to touch up your makeup. And Ashley not going nowhere because her bunions are hurting. And those shoes were not giving. So Ashley wasn't going nowhere. So Ashley is telling Giselle, like, if she would have, let her come to Miami to help celebrate her birthday and faked on her, or the new word, ghost her. If she would have ghosted her, Ashley was like, I would put you in a headlock. Blah, 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 blah. And Giselle was like, girl, if you ever did that to me, honey. And so then Greg has arrived. He's in Kiana's dressing room. And he's mad because he's been in that dressing room for hours waiting to come on stage. And he was like, they told me to get here at 1. It's 4. I could have been hanging out. He said, I could have been bopping around Manhattan. Right. Who comes to New York and don't want to kick it? You want some of that good food, some good shopping. Get the, New York is just a vibe. Okay. If you haven't been, book a trip, but don't go between May and November, really October. Those are the good months. So back to the reunion. Giselle was like, she said she was sad when her daughters, when she dropped her two twins off to college because now she's really an empty nester because her oldest has completed her first year in college. And all three of the daughters, they all go to a different college. One is in Hampton, and I believe that's the college she went to. I think that's the oldest. That's the oldest is at Hampton, and one of the twins is in Florida. The other one is in Atlanta at Spelman. So she said, the girls are doing really good in their first semester of college. They both have a 4.0. And baby, that camera went over there and looked at Mia like, And Mia's kind of like, that's nice. She's using her eyes. You just got to read her face. And so Andy asked, how are you and Jamal? Because, he's remarried now to someone who kind of, I've heard some people have said, Jamal has a type. And she doesn't look like Giselle to me. She kind of gives me Karen Clark Sheard vibes. But a beautiful woman, just, happy is happy. And she's beautiful. I believe she got her stuff together and they were friends for a long time. So Giselle says her and Jamal are good. Their co-parenting is going well. He's married now. The girls don't really have a relationship with their new stepmom, but hopefully that will develop soon. And I remember hearing the girls saying, Dad said that was just his friend. So, it's kind of hard when you're a pastor, you're single. It's already hard to go through a public divorce with kids and all these rumors, and you're trying to date, and it's hard to date with your daughters, and they looking at you, and you got to hold yourself up to a higher standard of living because you're a pastor. And, pastors, people feel like they can't do this and they can't do that and they can't do that and they can't hold hands, they can't kiss. And so I guess he just wanted just to keep it plain, just so it would just, and he's in the public eye. So I guess you just wanted everything to be private, even with your own kids. Hold on, besties. Hold on. And I'm back. That was a call from my accountant's office. I have an appointment tomorrow to go get my taxes filed, so they were confirming. So anyway, they're doing cool. The kids will probably start developing a relationship with dad's friend, who is now their stepmother. Sounds like they were at the wedding, but not in the wedding. And I think that, what kind of woman is this? Okay, I don't want to get into that. I'm going to stick to Potomac, but you're coming into a blended family. You need to blend the kids, especially girls, because they going to be looking at you crazy anyway. It just seems like that would be important to me to get it established. Go to lunch with them, take them, love on them, bond with them. Even with Giselle, just, we're family now, like, they're not the kids, they're older, they're grown in a way, but at the same time, you need to be blending. I'm not opposed to you, Giselle, and the girls coming over for Christmas, for Thanksgiving. You got to set a high standard. And this is already starting off bootsy and childish. I'm sorry. Like, at a certain age, just, what is the problem? He got 3 daughters. Bring them in. How are you marrying somebody and not cool with their kids? Like, and Giselle ain't keeping them from him or you. Okay, I'm gonna move on. So Giselle says her and Nams are strong, but baby, that's all she had to give. She ain't giving no more, honey. She threw it on over there to Ashley. Oh, and Nams and Josh, they're really good friends. Over to you, Ashley. Giselle was like, I'm only giving enough, and that's it. She did not want to give us any more details, and we didn't get nothing else. No dating, but she always in somebody else's panties, always asking if you with Stacy. Are you doing it? Are you not? Is it your Kalinga? Girl, what about you? Are you? What y'all think, besties? Is Giselle giving it up to Nams? What y'all think? Put it down in the comments. I think so. You know what I'm saying? So no more details with Nams. So Ashley gets in there and she said her and Josh had to cut back because they started off strong and wrong. It was hot and heavy. She got what she wanted and she's not ready for labels. And so Giselle cuts in and says, well, Nam says that he's head over heels over you, Ashley. And she's like, yeah, and I'm head over heels for him too. So over to Josh being offended by Wendy's comments about him. And Wendy was like, what? Because I called him Jack Harlow? No, girl. No, because if I can remember who he is, I just heard some of his music over the weekend. It was my birthday, y'all, on Friday. That's why this video is out late, because I just got back in town and it took a minute to get it together. I'm still kind of moving slow, but I had a great birthday with my girlfriends. It was 6 of us. It was 4 of us one day. Then the last day it was 2 of us. It was perfect. You start off large and you deplete by the day. We went to see the Warriors play the Kings in Sacramento. And Sacramento is the state of California, but honey, Sacramento does not represent California. Sacramento is like a country. They are so bootsy and old, and going to Sac is like going back to 1985. They so behind in time, but we had a good time. We had some great eats. If you guys are ever in the area, there's a Black-owned restaurant called Q 1227. It's an upscale soul food restaurant. Awesome. Food is great. Service is just top tier. We also went to Fixin's. That's a soul food kitchen restaurant, Black-owned by Kenny Johnson, who was the mayor of Sac, and he's a retired NBA player. I remember when he played for Phoenix. His restaurant, Fixes, is great too. Good vibes. We went on a Sunday, which was yesterday, and they played gospel music, and it was just a good vibe in there. What else did we do? We played golf at Top Golf, not a golf course, but we went to Top Golf. That was fun. We just had a good time. We went to a comedy show, went to the Punchline, saw a comedian I never saw before. He was funny. What was his name? Mike E. Whitfield. Black guy. He lived in, it don't seem like he's from Sac, but he lived there, but he lives in LA. They said he played in The Office. I never watched The Office. He was funny. He was really, really funny. Young guy. I got to get on stage because his birthday was yesterday, and he had all the Pisces come up and gave us some shots, and me and him took a picture. And so I got to talk to him because one of my clients knows him, and he was like, oh yeah, I know her. So it was we just had a good vibe. When you got good friends. Oh, and we had some spa treatments. Shout out to Renetta Taylor from the Yanni Spa. She came to our hotel suite and gave us some treatments, and honey, we had a time, honey. She brought in charcuterie boards, mimosas, chocolate covered strawberries because it was my birthday. We had a ball, honey. Yes, we did. Okay, so back to these people. So Wendy was like, who, Jack Harlow? And she was like, no, because you said he was a lateral move from Michael. And she said, oh, he'll be okay. I said, wow, Wendy. And so she says, so Wendy said, Ashley, you have said some horrible things about my husband. The apparent affair and a side baby was in the blogs. Ashley said, well, you need to take it up with the bloggers because they wrote it, not me. And Andy said, I thought Giselle started that rumor. I'm like, ooh, Andy with the mess. Andy, did you just go ahead and blend Giselle up in there? Yes, he did, Messy. Andy is the king of mess. So, Ashley's like, the bloggers wrote it, I just repeated it. And so Wendy said, no, but you brought it to national TV. It wasn't even a thing until you made it a thing. So sit with it. I said, not sit with it. Honey, Wendy said, sit with it. That means we are done. Don't come for me. So they have a back and forth and back again. And baby, Andy's like, okay, we moving on. We moving on. Honey, they still talking. Wendy won't stop, and neither will Ashley. Because one of them got to have the last word. And I don't remember, I forgot what sign Ashley is. Is she an Aries? But I know that girl, that Wendy is the Gemini. So she's like, clocked it. Ashley said, tried it. Wendy was like, still married. Good luck with Josh. Ciao. And here go Ashley. Well, is Eddie still a practicing lawyer? She was like, yes. Moving on. Baby, they was just going back and forth and back. It was funny. So moving on. Kiana and Greg have been ring shopping, honey. But you know they separated. I'm like, I didn't know people who are not married can separate, but she uses the term of separated. No, you guys are still together. You just don't live together. You're not separated. People who are separated don't go ring shopping. People who are not married can't be separated. You guys are together. You just don't live together. So she went and bought a condo. Andy was like, you did? She called it my, premarital property or whatever. So they will be moving back in together at a later time, and so when she got hurt, from the fight, that hurt Greg. And so it seems to us that it seems like to us he's unsupportive of her being on the show, but he shows up on the show to support her. He's just uncomfortable on TV. He just doesn't like this idea. He's just protective over her because she got hit. She got into a fight. It hurt him. So he's totally against being on here and probably can't believe that she even accepted the offer to be, a castmate. But here we are. And this is why we get to see this side of him that may not look great. So we'll have to just try to give Greg the benefit of the doubt, but he still is snarky, arrogant, I don't like him. But we do kind of understand, and maybe we'll see them next week, and maybe we'll get to hear some more from him. On to Stacy and TJ, child. Well, the best friends are not together. So here we go with another what? How can two best friends not be together but still be best friends? So nothing changed, like Wendy said. Nothing's changed. So I guess that's why Giselle is like, has there been some going on? Because what's happening? So she said it was just too much pressure. And then watching the show back, she got to really see the way he spoke to her, how down he talked to her, and it was hurtful. And her family don't like him. And Wendy was saying he was more, and then the whole comment of Wendy saying that TJ was more interested in the trainer than her really hurt. And so Wendy, she took it. She said, yeah, I said that. And she said, and I apologize. I really do. I apologize. And then she also was saying, and plus people were saying that I was paying him to be on the show and all this and that. And we looking like, well, yeah, that's what they say. And if that is true, you picked the wrong guy because TJ did not pretend well. If you want somebody to pretend to like you, he needs to be into you. TJ came on there. We best friends. We ain't doing it. I'm a devout Christian. Are you still married? Are you still married? When is the divorce? Oh, that's how you act. I can't. Oh, he was awful. He was awful. Get your money back, Stacy. And we will find out next week about this. Next week gonna be good, y'all. So they're still best friends. She says they have been intimate, but no lovemaking. And to me, I'm like, spill it. Tell me what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean? So, what does that mean, besties? Does it mean that they've kissed, that they've touched? Did they do monkey bites? What did they do? I'm gonna just ask. Sorry, I'm gonna just say it, y'all, because I want to know. Does that mean oral? Because allegedly oral is not penetration. So, what does that mean? Intimate? What, you hugged? What? So, if you were asked, was TJ a Kenya and Walter thing? Kenya from Real Housewives of Atlanta, was he paid to come on here and create this storyline for her? Did he come on the show to boost his acting career and give Stacey a storyline? And she really was just like, people gonna believe what they want. She didn't even ask. She's like, It was like, okay. So next, she says, TJ and Eddie are friends. She said her and TJ kind of fell apart around the holidays, and she let us know. And we all like, what do you mean you broke up around the holidays? How you break up with your best friend and you're still best friends? What are these people even talking about? And so she lets us know, honey, that her divorce is final, honey. She is divorced from that man. Do we even have a name for him? No, we don't, huh? Not that it's important, but what's the man's name? And so Wendy said, wow, you got divorced before Ashley and Mia. Girl, you already know Mia ain't getting divorced. So, honey, then we find out, honey, here's the real tea. Now clock this tea. Child, Stacey and Vivian, Vivian was the lady, the cute brown skin lady with the blonde hair that owns the shop, the dress shop at the mall. She was Karen's friend and Stacey's friend. That's kind of how they vibe together. Well, honey, Stacey and Vivian are not friends anymore. Honey, Stacey says she is shady. So what happened was, the black and green dress that Stacey had on at her event, Strut for Strays, it was kind of ugly. But the black and green dress, she had a white flower on it, I believe. And so that was the same dress that Vivian made for Ashley a few months before for her event. And so somebody said, oh, I can't remember, but somebody, I think it was Wendy. Wendy was talking to Stacey and she had asked about Vivian or whatever. And so, honey, Stacey's response was, F that B. It's over. And so they was like, Stacey, you acting like you Detroit now, you 313. And honey, Stacey did some little old square move she was making, like, yep, I'm from Detroit. Yep, I'm from Detroit. I was like, Stacey, come on, just stop. Please stop. You are not representing Detroit correctly. But we get it. You're just not hood anymore. We understand. You probably never were. But Vivian and Stacey, honey, they are a wrap. And I said, maybe that'll be a good little way for them to for Vivian to come back as a friend of, and maybe that'll be some of Stacey's storyline next season. So they talk about each other's fashions from the season, child. This was just way too funny. Stacey, they talk about Stacey's wig, from the Strut for Strays. When somebody said, Ashley said she looked like Annie, and Mia said she looked like Whitney Houston. They talked about Ashley's bunions. She said they are hereditary. They can run in her family. And she said Karen is so hard pressed about her bunions. And she puts the picture of Karen right at her feet. I was like, Ashley, stop. They talked about how Ashley was looking just like Wendy in one of her confessionals. And Ashley says, well, listen, to be honest, we don't see each other's looks until the show airs. Like, we film those confessionals separately. We don't know what each other is wearing. And they show us side by side with the pearls and everything. And so then Jacqueline joins the stage, honey, her and her baby bump, honey. And guess what? I'm just like, wow, what happened? When did that happen? Like, is it Mia's? Child, nope. Is it Ashley's? It could be. Is it Ink's baby? No. Is it PP's baby? Patrick It's not even Patrick's baby, honey. Ugh, ugh. It's probably Mia's. But speaking of Mia, Mia tells us outside influences was the problem in her and Ink's relationship. Ink is not permanent, we find out, honey, like in her tagline in the beginning of the show. Ink went hard on TV, and her and Ink, they got trashed. Social media ate Mia up. How dare you put that boy, that man, get back with your high school sweetheart? You probably never broke up with him. You're gonna put him on top of your husband. You say he's a manic, and you got two small kids, and you just gonna shove Ink on top of your family before you even divorce. Yeah, that was horrible. Even Jacqueline said it. And Jacqueline ain't, she's her cheerleader. So, she's telling you that it's true. So Giselle says Mia doesn't live in Potomac, DC, Virginia, or Maryland. She said, you down there in Atlanta, you lying. Mia, you lying. Y'all still together. And you ain't getting no divorce from Gordon. And you, Gordon, Ink, them kids, all of y'all are in on this. This is a fake storyline. Everybody's like, yep, yep. And so Andy was like, so you told the kids about the divorce on camera? Was that the first time they heard about it? She was like, yeah. And she said, well, we wanted to go to the family counseling, but she never said why they couldn't go to family counseling. But yes, she told Jeremiah, you know, about not knowing about the paternity on film. Mia says, and everybody's going in on her motherhood. So she's like, I'm aware that I'll have to talk to him about this one day. But for now, he's just 9 years old. No, he's not on social media. No, he don't have no cell phone. No. But I'm aware that I did question his paternity, and I'm going to have to talk to him about it. I'm aware. Honey, Giselle was eating her up. So Kiana calls Mia a liar. She says, you are just exploiting your family. Then she says Jeremiah's is Gordon's child through IVF. Then her and Wendy and Stacy and Ashley, they going back and forth and back again with Mia because they're arguing about how IVF works because Mia once again is lying and ain't getting it right. So Mia answers a fan's question. She says Gordon and Ink were getting along. But Giselle says, nope. Gordon said he didn't want to film with Ink, but you wanted him to do it, and then you did it. And now this. So Mia was like, I just wanted to show good co-parenting. And she explained that Gordon and her ex-husband, her first child's dad, she said they got along good and we co-parented very well with my 16-year-old. And I just thought that it could happen again. And so Andy's like, yeah, you would think that, huh? Jacqueline says she told me not to mix Gordon and Ink. It was just too painful. It was too soon. Kiana said Gordon was given elder abuse, like Mia was abusing him. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that word. And so Mia says he showed up on camera to make me look like a liar, and I went with it. And he was gonna come today to tell them that he apologized for what he did to me. They all was like, liar, liar, you be lying, Mia. Nobody believed that. Giselle's like, stop lying. And they tell her, girl, Mia, you are producing. Stop. You didn't got in here. You producing your own storyline. Knock it off. And so, child, whoo, man. So then they was talking about, they all saying that Mia said that they're all Destiny's child and she's Beyonce. She denies it. Wendy was like, nah, girl, you've been saying that since we was in Miami. And so then there's another viewer's question. Why do you talk so bad about Giselle's daughters when you have kids and blah, 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 blah? So Mia says, I apologize to her. Then Giselle says, yeah. And after that, you got in my face talking about at Ashley's drag show. Mm-hmm. So Mia was like, because you said I was a horrible mother. And Giselle's like, what mother would get on TV to discuss their kid's paternity? And she said, B, please. Child, Mia gets up and says, that's it. She goes backstage. She is leaving. She tried to leave earlier, but she leaving now. She's like, you just, and then they're all talking about, there was a time where kids and mothers, husbands are off limits, but hey, I don't know. So backstage, Eddie and Greg are back there. They just waiting in the background. So they call TJ to see where he at. So unfortunately, TJ had to evacuate because he lives in LA and the fires had started. So he had to evacuate. He was fine. He was safe. Everything was cool. So they were like, "Why are you not here, baby?" And then, honey, the production did a thing. They did some camera tricks where they was, scratching and blurring things out and all that. So, honey, TJ was like, I don't want to be at that fake show with them fake people. And then they blurred out what he said, but we caught the reaction of Greg and Eddie. They was like, oh, we didn't know. What? So Eddie texts Wendy. Now, Wendy is on stage and she's like, oh my goodness. And she covers her mouth. They like, what? And then the episode ends right there. So, baby, we already know. You probably already heard, besties, that allegedly the cap is that TJ told them that Stacy was paying him to be on the show with her, and he didn't come to the reunion because she hadn't paid him his last 2 checks. Honey, I cannot wait for next week, Potomac, honey. You guys drop down in the comments and let me know what you thought about this episode. It's a wrap. What we thinking about for season 10, because Karen ain't gonna come, and I hope they don't bring Robin back. Candace would be nice because she has a story. We get to see the baby and all that stuff. So anyway, besties, let me know what you thought about this week's episode. What does Karen deserve? Jail time? What? This is the 4th DUI. Whew, child. But I can't wait till next week. Then we'll wrap this on up. And then Real Housewives of Atlanta will be coming in a couple of weeks, child. Well, besties, that was the end of this recap. I'll be back with another recap. It'll be Married to Medicine. Bye, besties.